Hello everyone, it's Melissa. I am back and today I will be creating a 12 by 12 layout to document Mother's Day this year. And so like always, I am pulling from my product jar and I end up getting all but one used. So I have enamel dots, stickers, phrase stickers, clips, flare, and tags, and sequins. And I don't get sequins on the page. I do, however, off camera spray some pink mist, and that's from Tattered Angels. It's really old, hanging out in my stash, onto that sheet of gray background paper, and then I let that dry. So what I'm showing you here is that I pulled inspiration for the colors from this Pebbles paper, Sunnyside, and I also pulled my very favorite Maggie Holmes confetti paper pad. I also was showing you there before the Vicky Bouton ephemera that I have pulled. I have that leaf die called Clustered Leaves from Simon Says Stamp, and two flower dies. One's called Flower Layers and the other one's called Tattered Flowers. And I also have You Plus Me from American Crafts Thickers, and I'm going to use the word family, and also one of the hearts from the Thickers. I also have pulled that you'll see me use at some point are the Domestic Bliss epoxy metal clips, and I will use one of those in a bit. So I'm going to start by matting my 4x6 photo of me, my kiddos, and our newest addition, our little puppy, onto a piece of black, just a scrap piece of black cardstock from my stash. And I really like how that flare is kind of accentuating the top left corner of that pattern paper. Later you'll see that I do cut it down to 11.5 by 11.5 and mat it on some gray for my stash. But it's only because I felt like it needed a little bit of grounding. Maybe that flourish in the background was floating. I'm going to cut down this piece from the confetti paper pad, and it's just a fun, subtle, I didn't want it to be tone on tone, but I also didn't want something blaring out, because what you'll see at the end here is that I wanted the flowers to be my, mostly the photograph of course, but then the flowers and stuff that I die cut to really be pronounced on the page. And so I didn't want pattern paper to take away from that. And so I've die cut with my Big Shot a variety of different flowers from those two dies, and I cut the leaf die once and just cut it in half. You guys know I do that a lot just to utilize my cuts. And yeah, I am just kind of figuring out placement, trying to see what I like, what's pleasing to my eye and whatnot. And I am trying to use that bit of yellow flower, but I don't get it used on the page. I bring in other yellow actually. And so just have some bits that I pulled from that Vicky Bouton ephemera pack. I don't know which one, I apologize. And there's a tag. I'm eventually going to get that incorporated on the page because it was one of my pulls and I thought, why not? Yeah, so a bit about this page. We didn't do much. We hung out and just hung out in around the house, and I had a great day together. So I had my husband take this picture of us on the porch, and yeah, it was just so fun. So what you see me doing there is cutting down that piece of ephemera, that label. I didn't like the white on the outside. And what you won't see me do on camera, but I do eventually do, is with that family thicker, word thicker, I am going to dismantle it. And why I ended up doing that was because I wanted I wanted that title. It says family, and then the label says together is a wonderful place to be. I wanted that title to fit into that place just right. And wasn't going to do it put together like that. And so I will, off camera, take it apart and fit it in there, nestle all the letters in, just exactly how I want them to look. And I really like how it turned out. So I pulled a sticker, a frame sticker, from some miscellaneous stickers from my stash, and I'm just using some cornstarch and a paintbrush to get the stick off so I can kind of play around with it and figure out. I'm pretty sure I want it behind the photo, but just in case. And the reason why I pulled it was because the blue, I have that blue in my shirt, and my son's wearing a blue sweatshirt, and so I definitely wanted blue to be brought in there. And blue was a prominent color on that pattern paper I showed you in the beginning, the Pebbles pattern paper. And, like every other layout, most of the time I let the designers of the manufacturers, they have the colors already chosen. And if I like a pattern paper enough that I purchased it and brought it home into my stash, I obviously like the color scheme. And so quite often I will use pattern paper from my stash to put together layouts for as far as the colors that go well together. And that's what I did. Here I'm showing you I dismantled one of those epoxy clips, those metal clips, and I just took the bubble part off of the clip, and I'm going to utilize it more as like a piece of flair. And yeah, I like the way it turns out in the end. And actually, it says home with a heart, and it's navy. So I'm not overly concerned if it's navy or royal blue. My shirt is turquoise, but I'm not sure how it's reading on camera. It reads more towards a bright royal blue on the photo because I've put it through a filter. But yeah, either way, I really am pleased with the color combination and the way this page turned out. Now, I'm going to fiddle around here a little bit and make sure everything is just right. But before I forget, I would love for you to take a minute and subscribe to my channel. I try to upload videos once a week, and I would love to have you as a new subby. Also, I will post the links to my Facebook page and my Instagram page, and I'm posting there quite a bit, at least once a week. And yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity to follow me and stay up to date with what I'm doing in my personal life and or crafty life. And so, yeah, I'd love to have you. So back to the layout, you can see that I've layered up, and eventually I think I do it off camera, but just like the flowers there, each layer I crunched up, just to give those flowers a little bit of texture without adding dimensionals behind each layer. And so, yeah, I just crunched them up and crumpled them and just, brought them to life a little bit. And I'll do the same technique, the crumpling technique. Just want to be mindful. This is good quality. This is Stampin' Up! Cardstock. That's the only cardstock I ever use. So it's good quality. But I will tell you, you want to be careful if you're using, cheaper cardstock, because you could tear your paper. A lot of times people have suggested, even when you want to emboss something and not tear paper, to spritz it lightly with water before you even, emboss a sheet of, not the greatest quality cardstock. So, yeah, I will tell you that this is good quality cardstock, so I had no need to get it wet, but that is a trick that I have used and have seen people use in the past to keep their papers from tearing. You can see here almost immediately those leaves come to life with tons of dimension just from crinkling it a little bit and giving it a fold with my fingernail. And yeah, it's really great. It's even better in person. I just love it. And yeah, so I'm done with the title. I've actually added the heart at the end of family, and also I added the tag underneath that label. And so I'm just going to start gluing things down, getting things where I want them. Here I'm showing you some epoxy, like enamel shapes from Stampin' Up! And they're clear. And I pulled them and put them on just scraps of pattern paper. I essentially wanted the pink flowers to have yellow centers and the orange flowers to have orange centers. And so the bigger flower, I used a big epoxy circle shape backed on to some orange pattern paper from my stash, just scraps. And then the smaller circled flower that I layered up, I actually used a button. I thought this was a perfect opportunity since I was sprinkling flowers onto the page randomly to add a couple buttons in. So that's in fact what I did. I put a button on the orange flower and two buttons down below under the photo. One is a blue and the other one is a black. And I just kept it neutral and used just a natural hemp for my stash to fill in. And I didn't stitch those down to the page. I just ran a stitch through the buttonholes itself and then used a glue dot to secure them onto my paper. You can see here I'm adding the centers of those enamel shapes, and I'm going to glue them down, and in the process I am going to one last time zhuzh up the flowers. And so this layout was pretty much done, wrapped up. I took the opportunity to add my journaling into the center of the page instead of on the top or the bottom. I just wanted to kind of just keep it all centrally in the middle. And so you see me there showing you up close details. I do have a piece of chipboard that says, "I love you to the stars." And underneath, well, on top of it are 2 word phrases that say today and remember. And underneath I stamped with the Kelly Perky, it's called We Are Blessed. I stamped thankful and celebrate with black, and I cut them out. And that about wraps it up. So I've just showed you some close-ups. At the end, there'll be some still shots. And again, thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I would love to have you subscribe and follow me on my other social media sites. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and I'll be back soon.